Hi, in this video we are going to practice using the past simple, and that's why the title of this lesson is Past Simple Practice 1. We're going to have another one later. The objective that we have for this particular lesson is to use the past simple tense to talk about activities in the past. Let's review first how we work with the past simple, and I have these sentences here for you. All right? It says, when did you meet your best friend? When did you meet? We're using did because it's a question, and we place that auxiliary before the subject. When did you meet? Meet is there, and it's in the base form because we don't need to conjugate the verb because we already have an auxiliary there that is in the past form, and we just use the verb in its simple base form. When did you meet your best friend? The answer, I met her. I use the verb in the past form because it is the first verb that we are using there, and it's in the affirmative. In the affirmative, we always have the verb in the past form because there is no auxiliary before that. Saves me the work of doing it, of using the verb in another form. So I met her. We use the verb in its past form. I met her when we were in kindergarten. I introduced this word here just to remind you both of the pronunciation of that word and also to remind you that we can always use the forms of the verb be in the past as well, when we were in kindergarten. Did you study together? Again, that is a question, that is a yes-no question. Did you study? So there is nothing before the auxiliary. Did you study together during elementary and high school? And the answer is no, we didn't. That's a negation. And that is, by the way, a short answer. No, we didn't. She moved, that is a regular verb ending in ed. She moved to another city, but we always kept in contact, or we could say we always stayed in contact. Both forms are very common, but that kept is an irregular verb, all right? And moved is regular because it ends in ed, all right? You already know that, but I wanted for you to review that. So if you need to pause my video and review these sentences that compose this conversation, you're welcome to. Otherwise, let's continue to have some practice because that is the objective that we have for this lesson. The first practice activity is this. Use words from each column to form sentences in the past simple tense. You can add any other information to your sentences. So I have some nouns here that you can use. So you can write 5 sentences. I, family, sister, and Gina. Sister, you need to say her sister, my sister. You decide. The verbs that I have for you are eat, go, finish, wake up, and write. You might need to conjugate them, remember, unless you're asking a question. And the time expressions that we have are an hour ago. All right, you could say 2 weeks ago, 1 year ago. That ago is very common in expressions in the past. An hour ago, last week, but you could say last week, last month, last year, etc. This morning or this afternoon, this evening, whatever you can use to refer to something that happened already in the past. This morning, when I was 10, that means that when I was 10 years old, when that was my age. And you can say yesterday evening. So combine those nouns, those verbs, and those time expressions and write some sentences. You're free to do so. But remember, you can add extra information to your sentences to make them complete. All right? So please pause my video, complete the activity, and in a moment I will show you some sample answers. Go ahead. Pause my video, complete the activity, please. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for having completed the activity. That's what I hope you did. And here are some sample answers. My family ate lunch together an hour ago. Ate lunch. So we use the past form of eat there. My sister woke up. Oh, that is the past form of wake up. Woke up very early this morning. Gina wrote a beautiful song last week. That is the past form of write, wrote. That W is not pronounced, by the way. Gina wrote a beautiful song last week. I went to a summer camp when I was 10. All right, I went. So go, the past form is went. And finally, I finished a very long book yesterday evening. Somebody was reading a long book and the person finished it yesterday evening. All right, finish is a verb that is regular. That's why it ends in ed. The others are irregular. All right, thank you. Thank you for having completed that activity. I have another one for you. It says, complete the following sentences. That's easy, but you have to think carefully so that you know which words complete the sentences in the best way. Remember that these are all sentences in the past. So you have to look at the context to see which verb you could use. There are several options and you can use whichever makes sense to you, and then you can compare your answers with mine. For now, please pause my video, complete the activity, and when you are ready, we'll see some answers that I have for you. Go ahead, pause the video, complete the activity, please. All right, thank you. Thank you for having done that. I hope that you really did it. And let's see, based on the context of the sentences that you have, you could have said something like this. I'm sorry, but I think that I broke your computer. You damaged it. All right, that is one possibility. You could say something different, but that I borrowed your computer. It doesn't matter. What is important is that it is a meaningful sentence. Next, I gave my mom a beautiful card for her birthday. All right, yeah, the context looked for or called for something like that. That pasta was delicious. I ate it all in 2 minutes. That's what I do sometimes with pasta. Did the nurse check your temperature yesterday? That was a little tricky, but if we're talking about temperature, when you suspect you have a fever, or somebody suspects somebody has a fever, they check their temperature. That's the verb that we use. And since it's a question, we needed the auxiliary. Did the nurse check your temperature? And finally, I was very busy and I didn't do my homework last night. That was a little tricky. You could have said I didn't complete, I didn't finish, but that is just one possibility that I am giving you here. All right? I hope that you have all your answers grammatically correct, even though they are different from mine. All right? And finally, we have an extra activity, and it says, your friends have decided to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Means to exercise, to be good with your diet, to sleep well, etc. Healthy lifestyle, and you would like to know how they are doing in that respect, if they are staying healthy or not. Write 5 questions that you would like to include in a weekly interview. 5 questions. Oh, so you're monitoring your friends in their healthy lifestyle, change of habits, and you're going to write 5 questions that you would include in a weekly interview and answer them with your own information. All right, so you create the questions and answer them as to see how healthy your lifestyle is. I like this assignment, so think about 5 questions to ask your friend and then ask yourself those questions and answer them. All right, pause my video, complete the activity, please. All right, I hope that you did it and that you have your own questions, but for now, I would like to show you some sample answers. In this case, questions and answers. The first one is, how many hours did you sleep last night? That is a good question for a weekly interview. I slept 8 hours last night. That could be an answer. Did you drink enough water yesterday? Yes, I drank 8 glasses of water yesterday. All right, they say that the amount of water that you should drink depends on your weight and your activity. All right, 8 is a typical answer. Next, how many times did you exercise? So how many times this week or last week did you exercise? I exercised 4 times last week. Good. Fourth question. Did you eat enough vegetables? No, I didn't eat enough vegetables last week. I ate too much junk food, like fast food, things that are not healthy many times. All right, that is a typical answer. Where did you go to exercise last week? Well, I went to the gym and I walked around my neighborhood. So there are many ways, possibilities for you to exercise, and that is just one possible answer. Now, I am going to pause my video so that you can listen to the pronunciation of the native speakers, and as you listen to them, practice your own pronunciation. Go ahead, practice please.
How many hours did you sleep last night?
I slept 8 hours last night.
Did you drink enough water yesterday?
Yes, I drank 8 glasses of water yesterday.
How many times did you exercise?
I exercised 4 times last week.
Did you eat enough vegetables?
No, I didn't eat enough vegetables last week. I ate too much junk food.
Where did you go to exercise last week?
I went to the gym and I walked around my neighborhood.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much for having practiced your pronunciation. And remember that in this lesson, what we did was practice and practice and practice with the past tense. And that's why I gave you this introduction that you see here, so that you can remember that we have an affirmative, and negative, and interrogative form of the past simple, and that we have regular and irregular verbs, and one of the irregular verbs is the verb be, and that's why we have that example. I met her when we were in kindergarten. Remember the pronunciation of that as well. And with that, we conclude this lesson. Thank you very much for having completed this activity, and I will see you in the next one.